Welcome to the first video in our series. Today, we will learn about the characteristics of a rainforest. Now, rainforests get a lot of rainfall. I mean a lot, up to 160 inches a year. That's enough rain to cover up Perry Middle School all the way to the top of the roof. So, the average temperature is also very warm. It's about 77 degrees. And of course, with all that rain, it's going to be very humid. Now, all that rainfall has a big effect. For one thing, there's a lot of plants. I mean, there are plants everywhere. In fact, it's like a jungle. Oh, yeah, that would be what a rainforest is. It's a jungle. The soil tends to be very infertile, nutrient poor. And we want to talk about that. Why would the soil be so poor if there's all these plants decomposing? Well, they do. They decompose very quick in warm, wet conditions. But what also happens is the rain comes down and it washes all those nutrients away almost as quickly as they're formed. So the plants have adapted to that. They pick up nutrients very quickly, but the soil itself does not hold a lot of nutrients. We'll be talking about other biomes where the nutrients stay in the soil, much like a grassland. Okay, rainforests have, because of all the great conditions, it's warm, it's wet, they have the greatest amount of biodiversity of any other biome. And if you remember, biodiversity is just different types of life. Bio, life, diversity, different. The rainforest contains over 15 million species of plants and animals, and they discover more every single day. As far as the vegetation, on a single acre, there can be up to 150 different species of trees alone. Now, to kind of put that in perspective, that'd be like 150 different kinds of trees in an area smaller than our football field here at Perry. That's a lot of different kinds of trees. So biodiversity is also one of the characteristics. So where in the world are rainforests found? Well, if you look really closely on the map, they're marked in that kind of magenta color. Rainforests are found right there in the center, right by the equator. Kind of makes sense because near the equator it's always warm and it's lots of water, so it's usually very wet. So rainforests are found in warm, wet areas of the world.
Hi! Welcome to our next video in our rainforest segment. A lot of biodiversity. Keyword right here, biodiversity. And then another key feature is that the nutrient poor soil is very abundant everywhere. The soil does not have very many nutrients in it. And we'll see how that comes into play in a little bit. So the first thing we want to talk about is plant adaptations for this new segment. And one of the key features that we have up here is that it rains 160 inches every year. Now, because it rains that much, plants in a rainforest have to adapt. How are they going to do that, Mr. Kincaid?
Well, as a matter of fact, they adapt by using something called, on their leaves, a drip tip.
What's a drip tip?
Well, I'm glad you asked. This is a drip tip, and I will demonstrate. Now remember, it rains a lot in a rainforest. So, if the rain just sat there, the leaves would all decay. It's kind of like leaving your sandwich out and it gets all moldy and yucky. So, plants have adapted something to take care of that. If you'll look, they've got this little tip and everything is funneled down. Here, I'll show you. When it's raining, it rains, water is funneled all the way down, off the leaf as quickly as possible onto this drip tip. So, one adaptation is the drip tip.
Ooh.
Okay, let's talk about other adaptations. Okay, let's get our tree. Now, tall trees are another adaptation. Christian, get our lights, Christian. Turn them off. Okay, so another adaptation that we want to talk about is light. Now, you would think in a rainforest there'd be lots of light. You're in the equator, there's lots of light, but what you got to remember is there's a lot of competition. As a matter of fact, there's trees, there's this upper canopy layer, and this would represent the ground layer. So this is our rainforest tree of science, and we're going to show you how plants have to adapt to the light conditions. So we got our emergent layer. That's this layer right here on top.
It's the tallest layer of the rainforest.
It is. It actually goes above all the other canopy layer. Then we have the canopy layer. Can you put a couple leaves on there to kind of represent the canopy layer? Okay. So we got the canopy layer. That's the layer that kind of is like the roof. So the emergent layer is like the chimney, and then we got the canopy layer that's like the roof. But wait, that's not all. We also have the understory. So we have yet another layer.
So kind of in the middle of the forest.
Yeah. You've got another layer. Those are kind of the smaller trees and maybe the shrubs and things that are big for us because rainforest trees are huge. They're 200 feet tall. The redwoods are a type of rainforest tree, or a type of rainforest tree. So as you can see, all of a sudden, we don't have very much light at all at the floor level anymore because it's all being shaded out.
Yeah, this plant is not getting much light at all.
But wait, so how do they adapt to poor light conditions?
Well, I noticed that the leaves are really big.
They are. As a matter of fact, wide leaves. Now, wide leaves...
Wide means fat, big.
Exactly. And what they do, they actually capture more leaf means you capture more of the sunlight. So wide leaves are one of the adaptations. Now, one of the problems with wide leaves is they use up a lot of water. And remember when we talked about deserts, they had very narrow, small leaves. Oh, thanks. We now have rain coming down. But we got plenty of rain. In fact, we got rain coming down right now. We have plenty of rain, so water is not a problem in the rainforest. So their leaves can get as big as they can possibly grow. And the biggest leaves in the world are in the rainforest. All right, very good. Now, next thing, let's talk about
what the rainforest looks like.
Okay, let's take our tree of science out of here.
And we'll move our forest floor plant.
Okay. All right. Some other characteristics. There are a lot, once again, a lot of biodiversity. We have very colorful flowers. So, very tall trees, the leaves are very wide, they have drip tips, and there's a lot of very colorful flowers. And there, you can see they're all different shapes, sizes, and color. In fact, in a rainforest, there is a lot of color. So it's not unlike, say, the desert, where everything was kind of that sandy brown color. There's all kinds of color in a rainforest. Okay? Therefore, a lot of the animals, unlike a desert, they're going to be very colorful because they actually kind of blend in with the rainforest when they're colorful. But in addition to that, also it's a good way to attract a mate because they'll have certain color patterns. And the other thing that is one of the adaptations is our toucan here. What's the first thing you notice about a toucan?
His beak!
His beak, exactly so. And his beak is very specialized. He eats fruit, and it's very specialized to eat different types of fruit. So he has a perfect beak for that. Other birds would have beaks that would be more specialized for other types of food. And that's just some of the adaptations. In fact, there's so many adaptations, we're not going to talk about all of them today, because that would be a really long video. We only said 10 minutes. So, next adaptation we want to talk about is the color is for warning. These are poison dart frogs. Okay, poison dart frogs are really cool. Poison dart frogs are called poison dart frogs because
they're poisonous!
Yes, and as a matter of fact, the native people in the rainforest used to take their darts and they would rub it on the skin of the poison dart frog, and then they would shoot their bows or their poison darts, and it would go into an animal and it would kill them because they would be poison darts. So this is the poison dart frogs. And you see how colorful they are, and that is a warning device so that predators don't want to eat a poison dart frog. Okay, so what else do we have?
Well, what did today? Well, we learned about plant adaptations. There are many, many plants with wide leaves. The wider the leaf, the more sun they can absorb. The leaves have drip tips that funnel the water down so that it doesn't get the leaf all moldy and gross. There are tall trees to reach the sun, and then very colorful flowers all throughout the rainforest. Okay, we also talked about animal adaptations. Just like the flowers, there's brightly colored animals for several reasons. Camouflage to hide in. If all the colors are bright colors, the animals should be bright colored to camouflage. Okay, they can also serve as a warning that they're poisonous. Don't eat me, I'm poisonous. Or to attract a mate. The more colorful, the more mates they will attract. Okay, some of the animals have specialized beaks to eat fruit or nuts or berries, whatever they eat. And then there are so many more adaptations we can't talk about them because there's so much biodiversity, so many different types of life in the rainforest. Okay, so that pretty much sums it up for our plant and animal adaptations.
Okay, well, we need to talk about one more thing. What is the major characteristic of a rainforest? What's the major characteristic? Yeah, they're really wet. So, thank you very much, and till next time when we'll have another subject for the flipped classroom.
Bye.
Bye.